right, y'all. So at this point, this video kept popping up on my timeline so much that I was like, oh gosh, I need to talk about it. And like, I wanted to, but I just didn't know how to. She just kept popping up on my time. I was like, yo, at first I was like, is this Halle Berry in X-Men? I was like, what's going on? Laverne Cox, she was talking about her ex-Maga Republican NYPD cop of a boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend. She talked about it at first, like saying, well, I'm going to cover this topic on this upcoming show, my upcoming show. She got a lot of backlash and then responded to it almost like she was gagged that she was getting backlash. Let's just talk about it. Let's talk.
Y'all know who I am. Y'all know who I am. Adrienne, I be in the cut. I sizzle with your man. Don't be mad at me because he recognized the brand. Don't be mad at
Way back in 2018, I put out the first book in my Xeraxia series called Xeraxia Wrath of the God King. Now I'm so excited to let you all know that the sequel to that book, Xeraxia, The Vengeance of Coldwind, is out now. Anywhere you get your ebooks and audiobooks, you can find it there. I'm talking about Amazon, Audible, audiobooks.com, Google Play, like it's all there. Also, you can go to www.xeraxia.com to purchase it directly from my site. Check out my series, check out the first book, and make sure you get the second book because it's out now. I'm so excited.
So I'm going to use this article to orient us, okay? The link for it, the full article, will be in my description. Laverne Cox responds to backlash for dating MAGA Republican. People are still human beings. Laverne Cox sparked much conversation on Instagram this week after revealing a chapter from her dating history that many did not expect. In a clip posted Monday night, she shared that she was once in a serious years-long relationship with a blonde-haired, blue-eyed MAGA Republican voter who also happened to be a New York City police officer. She was opening up about the relationship. She called it a love story that shocked even her. We were madly in love. I did not develop any of his politics. I still have my own. Okay, so let's stop right here because like this is, I mean, it's already crazy. I want to go back to where she was. I'm not going to play the video for y'all because I was just like actually gagged, but then I thought about it and all these, there's a specific type of like black person that goes to Hollywood or gets out there and like, you know what I mean? Instead of diving deeper into their blackness, they chase the empty promise of like, I don't know what it is, white superiority, white, like, I don't like what? The empty promise of whiteness, you know? But I want you to watch the first video where she was talking about it and she was swooning, talking about this MAGA Republican, the way that she said blonde-haired, blue-eyed Republican voter, MAGA Republican, like she was swooning. It didn't come across like, oh, well, this was a chapter and and I deeply regret or I shouldn't have been there but even that to me is unacceptable because like she said that we were madly in love. And I don't know how you can be turned on by someone who votes for your own destruction. I don't know how you can even want to be embraced by someone, much less fall madly in love with someone who can be impressed by Donald Trump. I don't know how you can be impressed by someone who can be impressed by Trump, by white nationalism, by literally your own destruction. So to sit here and say, I did not develop any of his politics while rolling around in bed with him and swooning. Is he swooning over you while recalling dating you? And it's just like so many times we can see when we pull back the layers that it seems to be in so many of these cases that a lot of these, it's a specific kind of black person, that black creative, it's a specific brand where like you realize, oh, you were working this hard to get to coin, to get to status, so you could date a white person, so you could live that American white-centered, the false promise of that American dream. And it's like the way that we move ourselves out of ourselves. That might make sense. The way we suppress ourselves, that some people, I would say suppress, some black people suppress their entire being to lift up the blue-eyed, blonde-haired, and coming on here gagged when we're gagged. Like, she was swooning, girl. It wasn't even like, oh, like, I matched with this person on Tinder and something felt off. Like, I went on a couple of dates with him and it was just off. And then I realized, oh my goodness, this guy's a cop. This guy's and he's a MAGA Republican voter. I ran out of there. It wasn't that. It was, and it was recent. Like, while she's like in her activist bag, honey. Yeah, it wasn't like 1-2 dates and I called it off. No, she years long and swooning, rocking back and forth, remembering this relationship, smiling about their time together. It's a mess. But yeah, like I said, she said, and so many people have this argument that, oh, well, I didn't develop any of his politics. But in my head, I'm like, the fact that you could be swept off your feet by someone who was swept off their feet by Republican ideology and Trump, is that not alarming to y'all? The clip quickly went viral and comments poured in, with many expressing confusion over how the openly trans, pro-black, progressive actress could fall for someone on the ideological opposite side of the spectrum. Cox returned to Instagram later that night to elaborate in a live video, clarifying that she didn't know her partner's political views or profession when they matched on Tinder. Okay. Okay. We were just chatting. Okay. But then y'all moved past the chatting and you thought he was that impressive to move past it. He told me he did something else. By the time she found out the truth, they were already deeply involved, Cox said. And how deeply could you be involved if your alarms ain't going off, your instincts ain't... But they're not going off because you don't care that much. Because you were willing to date this guy in the first place. Acting like, oh my God. Cox said she decided to try to build a relationship based on shared humanity, not politics. She said, I wanted to see if it was possible to have a relationship with someone with different political beliefs. And in theory, she said I fell in love with a human being who had different politics, and the good things about the relationship were so good that I was willing to work with politics I didn't agree with. And here's my issue. It's so often that this brand of black person, they will be like, oh, well, I can't date a black person because this X, Y, and Z. They ain't chasing after. They're not chasing after dating black people like they chasing after, swooning after these blonde hair, blue eye. You know what I mean? So you don't want to. A lot of these kinds of black people don't race to date other black people because of X, Y, and Z. But then they'll say, oh, I'll overlook the race. You'll overlook the racism? You'll overlook the transphobia. Like, you'll overlook the racism of somebody to say, oh, well, it was so good that I could overlook the fact that they bought into an ideology that literally wants my very destruction. You know what I mean? And you will sit there and be like, well, let me see if I can agree, if we can agree to disagree. Like it's y'all's choosing your favorite color or favorite foods or something, you know, and not like a whole entire world view that like y'all are trying to force yourselves to fit into someone who honestly is seeing y'all like black doormats. The 4-year relationship, which she previously described as healing, ended when it became clear that their values weren't ultimately aligned. And here is where the problem lies. It's like, why do you have to go through the entire university course of Boo Boo the Fool and get to the final exam and be like, well, my values don't align. I guess they don't align. Instead of saying, hey, guess what, girl? From the minute that y'all matched on Tinder and you saw, I mean, come on now. So you had to go through the whole clown university to see that there was a clown diploma at the end of it. And that's what I'm saying, is that a lot of this, like this brand of black creative will get to Hollywood and they will put up with all kind of heinous stuff as long as it's coming from a white partner, but wouldn't put up with 1/4 of that coming from you see what I'm saying? And so when we peel it back, it's always putting whiteness on a pedestal. That's what it is. Being able and willing and eager to deal with things like racist, like covert, whatever, transphobia even, you know, as long as it's coming from a white body, and so people have to really examine that. Cox also addressed the backlash that immediately followed her reveal, pushing back against those who accused her of aligning with fascist ideology or MAGA politics. "I'm not going to hate people. I don't believe in that," she said. "We have to fight the fascists, and we have to fight the fascist regime. But as we do that, I hope we're not dehumanizing people with different beliefs the way they're dehumanizing us." And so it is not, and so that is, to me, the crux of how should I say, this kumbayaism is, the goal of it is to destroy any progress, right? Because we are consistently and systematically being dehumanized by these people, period. And so if you walk over to the dehumanization machine, to someone who's bought into the dehumanization machine, and you're over there whining and crying like, "Oh, let's not dehumanize the dehumanization machine. Like, they're dehumanizing us. We gotta kumbaya and hold hands." And then, like, you get mad at the people who are saying, well, I mean, if it's a lion and it walks like a lion and it growls like a lion, why are you going to the den acting gagged when you get ate up? And so it's this, I'm telling you, it's this crazy, delusional, like, belief in this false promise of like, oh, well, everyone's just gonna, we can't hate, and we just gotta hold hands and kumbaya. They want to destroy us. And you're sleeping with them, playing with them, but at the end of the day, they're going to go to the polls and vote for your very destruction. And so it seems self-sacrificial racially, I mean, in a way that is like masochistic. I do also hate that she also cited Miss Lord's famous quote here, "The master's tools will never dismantle the master's house." And she said this as a reminder of how easy it is to become what we're fighting against. That's what I was seeing in these comments. And I would invite us to critically interrogate that. People are still human beings. The other side does not think of you as human. They don't think of you as, they don't think of you as human beings. They don't think of trans people as human beings. Queer people, they want to eradicate. Black people, don't, definitely not. So to engage with like I said, the dehumanization oppression machine, to engage with it in any other way but to try and erase it from this existence, from this reality, is to buy into its lie that we can or should tolerate or deal with or negotiate with or compromise with people who want our total destruction, and the only thing that leads to is our total destruction, because we're compromising with them. And so you talking about, oh, these people are human beings. These people are human beings. Yes, they're human beings who don't want us to exist. Like what? And so trying to reach out to the Iron Throne, because it looks shiny, because it's, trying to reach out to the, because it has a bunch of power, and it doesn't consider you to be a human being, and you sleeping with them and smiling about remembering the time that you were. This specific kind of, this brand, like I said, this specific kind of Black creative girl, they will use this, oh, kumbaya, we gotta really go over there and see why they called me the F word. Why do you think I'm an F word? Why do you think I'm a T word? We have to go over there. They use this excuse like, oh, we have to really reach our hands over to the Nazis and build community. They use this excuse to go over there and get white meat. Instead of just saying, oh, I wanted white meat, I wanted Republican white meat. And when I got instead of just saying that, it's like, oh, we got to fight the fight, and you Harriet Tubman now, you fight the good fight, and Audre Lorde, and What are you talking about, bruh? I just think, and I'll end it here because I can go on and on forever, but I really do think that we should seriously take a look at why so many Black people like this see whiteness as so amazing, as so thrilling, as so euphoric, that they will literally overlook the fact that the person voted for Trump because they're so desperate to reach it. Why? Why is whiteness so attractive? Why is it so alluring to some of these black creators, Black stars, right? That they will overlook overt racial violence against them to try and fit them in their lives, to try doing things, bending over backward, compromising themselves, giving themselves in ways that the white partner, that the white community would never do, for them. So that's all I'm saying. Thank y'all so much for watching. Love y'all so much, and make sure you have a good evening.
Y'all know who I am, y'all know who I am. Adrienne, I be in the cut, I sizzle with your man. Don't be mad at me because he recognized